Hello, welcome to this week's episode of What One Thing, One Business, One Story and One Lesson to take away in action every week for small business owners looking to grow. I'm Hayley Baxter.
And I'm Phil Davenport, and we have the pleasure of talking to Regina Martin today. Regina is a visibility strategist, brand and web designer, and founder of The Confidence Healer. She helps bold, brilliant entrepreneurs get seen by the right people by ditching the overwhelm and showing up online with clarity, confidence, and charisma. Through her signature framework, Squarespace templates, and a powerhouse mastermind, The Vault, she helped hundreds of business owners become magnetic as expect a blend of strategy, soul, and a sprinkle of sass.
Welcome, Regina. Before we get to your one thing, let us know, was there a challenge or a turning point or a wake-up moment in your business that led you to this point? Just do a little bit of scene setting for us.
Yes, is the short answer. We all have one, don't we? So, set the scene here. I've left corporate. And I've been working with some big brands, right? I've worked with Barclays, I've worked with HMRC, worked with HSBC, I was working in the charity sector, really kind of actively going out there and making money, because that's what you do, right? I was in brand and business development. And I looked after all of the digital aspects of things. And so when I decided I was going to be self-employed, because working in corporate drains the hell out of you, like it does. You cannot be yourself. Like, no matter what anyone says, you cannot go in to corporate and be yourself. You're representing somebody else's business, and you have to represent what their version of professionalism is. And so when I came out into the business world, I was like, it's going to be all right. I can just do my thing. I decided I was firstly only going to do one skill, which was just web design. Just going to be a web designer. And I was looking out there, and you do market research, don't you? It's like a huge part of what we do. It's like you look at market research and like, oh, I've got to be like them. I've got to have the aesthetics. I've got to have the colours that are all pastels. And we're talking 5 years ago, that trend thankfully has passed. But like, got to have all the pastels, got to have all the handwritten like writing and everything. I literally was doing my best not to stand out, and I was blending in, and I was getting the clients. I was getting them. Mm-hmm. My clients were coming in, but here's one of the pivotal moments, and the biggest pivotal moment I had was I was asking for testimonials, and the general gist of my testimonials were, oh my God, she's so much nicer in person.
Oh my gosh.
I was actually thinking that, and this is so common as business owners, isn't it, that we put the website up as a kind of template, and like you say, we pick what industry we're in, we pick the colours of the industry, and it's our personality that people want to see and feel, especially with yourself. You just wolf, aren't you? You are personality.
Literally, like that is like, nobody who meets me goes, oh, she's a bit boring. Like it just doesn't happen. But it's something that I had to really lean into, because when you're out and doing kind of like talks, or I'm doing stuff like this, I'm like, I have to bring my most professional version of me. Now, when you listen to me, right, I'm a brummie, and that's really hard to hide. Like, I'm from Birmingham. I drop my H's. Sometimes my T's get dropped too. I don't say, I say me. Like, I sound like this. I'm not quite a full Peaky Blinder. That's my husband. Just on the outskirts. But we all pretty much sound like this. That doesn't make me any less professional. It doesn't make me any less skilled. I have got 20 years of experience of working with small businesses. I've been doing it for 20 years, right? And actually, I've managed to do that by bringing in those parts of me that actually are what attract people to me. So when I was doing things in an advisory role in the corporate world, yes, I had to bring the professionalism, but my clients, I was their favourite because I brought the me into that. And so the biggest lesson for me was actually just like, and we do this, right? We say, just be yourself. What does that even mean? Right? What does that really even mean? And so the biggest lesson for me was, I need to understand what people are seeing in me that I'm not seeing. What am I not bringing? What am I not showing out into the world? Because I'm bringing clients in, but I'm still living client to client.
When you got that feedback then, because that was the pivotal, or one of the pivotal moments, because I'm sure there were, I can't say that word, I'm sure there were a few. What did you do? What did you do next?
It was quite interesting, actually, because I had a spiritual business coach at the time. I'm a spiritual soul. Like, I speak to guides, I heal my chakras, I'm surrounded by crystals. Like, that's me. And I work in tech, which is weird. It's wholly weird. So I had this spiritual business coach at the time, and I was working hard, and I was working hard, and working hard. And I literally, within 3 months, burnt out fully 3 times. because it was hustle,
Wow.
hustle, 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 hustle. And she said to me, Regina, I don't think that with the way that your energy works, that this is the right way to work for you. Have you had a think about looking into your human design, right? To see, I've got an idea of what you are, but I need you to, and she was suggesting to me, because I'm now knowing what I am, had she told me, I'd have been like, don't tell me what to do. So she went off, she said, I've got an idea. So I went off and I found my, I was like, okay, I'll do the thing, because like astrology was my thing. I was that kid. I was an astrology nerd. I can tell you your sun, moon, rising. Like literally, I was that kid. And I was like, oh, this is exciting. I got this chart, and I was like, what does this mean? She was like, tell me what it says. I said, it says I'm a manifester. And she was like, do you know what that means? And I was like, no. She said, it means that you are working too much for your energy. You don't work like other people. The fact that you work really, really fast means that actually you can spend 80% of your time resting. I still haven't mastered that, right? I've got kids. Who does that? Who rests 80% of the time when they've got children? I don't know. You're supposed to be resting 80% of the time, but what you are supposed to do is to work with your energy and with your speed and not look outside. Your divinity is inward. Your inspiration comes from within. What that allowed me to do, believe or don't believe, I'm a manifestor, I don't care. Anyway, but I'm like, what that allowed me to do is it gave me permission to really start going on a journey of self-discovery, because I was like, there's a lot that I resonate in with what she was telling me about my personality. And then I did the thing to go and buy all of the books and read them all and decide to become an expert, because that's how I roll. And actually realised that there are whole parts of me that are very, very different from other people. And that's okay. And it's okay. So when we talk about being ourselves, you can't be yourself if you actually don't know who you are and how your energy works and and it was this whole journey of, okay, so what is this for me? So I understand that I can't work in this way. I can't just keep pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing and trying to be everywhere. That doesn't work for anybody, regardless of what your human design is or your personality type or any of that stuff. That doesn't work for anybody. So what does work for me and my energy? What does work for my personality? I'm actually quite an extroverted introvert. After this, I'm doing another recording after this, right? I'm going to be exhausted. Nobody should talk to me later today. Don't talk to me, because it takes a lot of energy. It actually takes a lot of energy for me to say yes, and I don't say yes to everybody, because I do have to kind of like stalk you a little to find out if our energies align, but also to understand, like, is this a space where I can just go in and just be Looney Tunes Regina and then kind of come away? So really it actually set me on this moment of self-discovery. We talk about self-love so much, like so much. You cannot love yourself if you don't know who you are. So I went on like a 3-year journey of finding out who I was.
So just to then take it back, just so I'm clear and everybody's clear, what is your one thing that you would share with other business owners to help them on their journey?
Find out who you are.
Okay.
Not just as an entrepreneur, but find out who you are as a person too, because we take that for granted. Especially if you are in whatever we do, whether we're business to customer or business to business, we spend so much time doing the ideal client, finding out who we're working with, all of this stuff, right? We do a lot of that, and a lot of us are really sick of hearing it. Like, I'm like, oh my god, I've got to do ideal client again. Like, it's a thing. Sorry, it is a thing. We do have to do it, but actually, who are you? Who are you as an entrepreneur? How do you serve your clients, and what does that look like for you?
Yeah.
Really for you.
Okay, so I am a business owner. I've been going for 3 years. I'm doing whatever I'm doing. What do I do? What do I physically go and do?
Personally, and I can tell you the journey that I go on, and actually a journey that I take my clients on when we're going through the brand process. And actually we take them through this in the vault as well. We go on this self-discovery journey of who you are by firstly acknowledging the things that you really kind of love and don't love so much about yourself. I take them through this really horrible process of, tell me all the things you love about yourself. And I want 10. I want 10 things that you I know, right? Like, you just did the whole, I feel sick. Like, because 3's easy, isn't it? 10's not so easy. And I want 10 things. And actually, most people can't come up with 10 things. Most people can't come up with 10 things. So then I send them off and I go, do you have children in your life? Like, you have children in your life? If you don't, that's okay. So whether that's nieces, nephews, godchildren, etc. Or actually somebody who is wholeheartedly, unfilteredly honest with you, go and ask them. right? And then we write those. Kids will tell you, I'll say to my kids, what do you love about me? That's how you feed me. That's how that thing, like, let's take it beyond. And I had to do that. I then say to them, and now I want 10 things that you don't love so much about yourself. And often we can reframe those things that you don't love about yourself, because the things you don't love about yourself often are, and we have to take it away from what you can see. So it's not, I don't like my face, because I'm like, that's a therapist, right? Okay, it's, I want to know what it is that you don't like about your personality. What is it that you don't like? Because often those things that you don't like are things that probably other people have told you aren't good enough. Right? And so what we then look at is actually reframing that and saying, how does this represent within your business? What we also then look at, and this isn't an easy process, is what your values are and how they actually weave into every single part of your life. When we look at branding, there's this whole idea of, let's pick some values from a list, right? I've got a list of words here. What are your brand values? Absolute BS. Your business values are in here. And often when things are going wrong in your business or wrong in your life, it will have triggered one of those values. So I had an issue the other day where somebody had put out an event and the lineup was all white, all cis, all able-bodied. It triggered my value of inclusivity. Inclusivity is a huge value that underpins all of my business. And I do my best to make sure that people within my business feel valued, feel honoured, feel welcomed, feel heard. But that's also a value for me, because if I don't feel valued, honoured, heard, welcomed, then I don't show up in the way that I need to for my business. And so if I go out there and there are some isms or phobias going on, which happens, it impacts my ability to show up as a whole human being within my business. And so really understanding those values actually underpin, they don't just underpin your business, they underpin your life. They determine the kinds of clients that you call in. They determine the where you go, the spaces where we all have spaces where you're like, yeah, I went there before and it was not for me. What value did it trigger? What did they not do? And that's the discovery part of things.
I think the tricky piece, so let's take Phil back in the day, one employee, spending a lot of time working in the business on projects, aware of brand values, aware of trying to show my personality, etc. However, also aware that I can't take time out of the business. I've not got 3 weeks to go and self-discover, or 2, or I've not got that time to do. What would be the one thing that you'd say to that business owner that they can maybe do 1 hour a week, 30 minutes, or something that just changes the needle, that moves the dial, that they could do? So they've got the idea, I'm just another pastel-coloured IT business. I'm not, everybody love me, but I'm just another IT pastel-coloured business in the great sea of pastel-coloured businesses. What's the one thing that I can do that will have a big impact early on? The 20% that causes the 80% of movement. What's that one thing that they can do?
Do you know what? I hear you, because it's like, I haven't got I didn't have like hours a day either. But what I was able to do was take time to reflect on my day. And I feel like as business owners, we are so steep in the hustle, right? Do the thing, especially because when you put the business down, you don't just sit there and go, I'm just going to pause here until it's time for me to work again tomorrow and then start up again. Take time to really reflect on your day. And I actually did take time to do that. What went well for me today? What didn't go well for me today? What did that bring up? 3 things. And it takes me, and I do that every single day, right? I have a little journal that sits back, and then I know it's fluffy and I know it's spiritual AF, and then people are just like, oh my God, she's just so woo. I don't care. But anyway, right? Have a journal literally next to your bed and reflect on your day. What went well? What didn't go well? And I know it's like, how did this make me feel? I'm just like, what came up here? What came up here? That's really me understanding how I work. Because sometimes I'm just like, oh, I said a thing.
I think that is fun, because it's something I'm always guilty of doing. I mean, I was saying to Hayley, I was up at 2 o'clock this morning and I've got some graft because, it was kind of worrying me. But I won't have written that down anywhere. I'll never remember that. I'll never look back on that. And I think journaling, as you said, is so powerful, because what you can also do off the back of that is you can start to see where your time's allocated each day. Start to see, I suppose, emotionally where you challenge. Do you journal, Hayley? Are you a journaler? You strike me as a journaler.
Moments, but I'm never, well, you won't be surprised to hear this, I'm not very consistent. So yeah, sometimes I do. I can see the benefits of it, and I can see how capturing the way you're feeling in the moment later is useful, because you just forget about it, don't you? You forget. I was actually having this conversation about August, because August is a bit of a tricky month because a lot of the team have holidays, which means I get dragged back into doing a lot of client work, like work that isn't my favorite type of work. And in it, I'm like, oh, something needs to be different. We need to do this differently. Da, 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 da. But then I don't capture that in that moment. So then by, October, I'm just like, oh yeah, it's fine. I don't need to worry about it again. So I can see why the benefits of doing that and capturing it, you can then use that in the future. But as I said, with everything, I am not very consistent.
But sometimes it's better than never. So we do like that's another thing, consistency. And this is part of knowing yourself. What does that look like for you? Because for me, it's energetically how I'm feeling in that moment. Sometimes consistency is like, if I feel rigid and have to do something all day, every day, I start hating the thing. Like I don't want to do it. But consistently showing up for myself can represent itself in so many ways, right? And sometimes if I don't journal, sometimes I'm like, I'm just going to look back. I keep all my I'm a part hoarder. I love stationery. So I get that. And I do this thing every year. It's called the year's compass. And you kind of do your year's compass and you reflect on your year. So it's a whole year and you do it at the end of the year. It's amazing. There's a whole website for it. Just Google the year's compass. And you can sit there and you reflect on your year and then you do your year ahead. When I take time to do my year's compass, sometimes I go through my journals and I watch my journey over the year of what I've done. That then actually makes me think about, okay, so what have I achieved? And often we talk about achievement as monetary, right? And it's not always monetary, because when I look back at my business 5 years ago and my business now, my products and services ain't even the same, much less me, right? They're not the same at all. My business has significantly evolved. I've gone from just offering websites to actually having a whole brand package, and we call it digital concierge service, like literally you can have everything, right? To having an inclusive networking business, because I was getting so pissed off about how exclusive everywhere else was. And I'm not just talking about this as a black woman. On my journey of self-discovery, I also found out that I'm autistic. I'm just like, right, that makes sense. It makes so much sense about why I don't understand people all the time and why I'm like so outspoken. I say what's in my head a lot of the time. That was helping me to go on this journey of self-discovery as well. So as I was doing these things, I was finding out all of these things about myself. And actually, as part of my business, realising that the world out there isn't built for people like me, because it is just so exclusive. And I was doing the Regina thing, having a rant, because I'd gotten to the point where I felt like I could talk about what my values are and what they mean to me and my business and the people I work with and my team, who are all neurodivergent or members of the LGBTQI community or have some kind of disability. Or like, do you know what I mean? All of this stuff. And I'm like, I really care about these people. Why don't you? Why aren't you doing the things? I got really fed up. I had a tantrum and thought I'm going to do it myself. And then I set up the network, and we now have a network of over 600 people who come and do networking, all of whom are just so fed up about how exclusive the business world is. So we decided to do exclusively inclusive business networking, right? Because I'm just like, I just got fed up. But I just did that because I'm now unapologetic about this value of mine of actually nobody being left behind. It shouldn't be the same 1% that controls everything. We should all have the ability to succeed regardless of any kind of marginalisation, whether that be financial, whether that be because of the colour of your skin, whether that be because you are a member of the LGBTQI community. It really shouldn't matter. We should all have the same access to success. And I'm now, having gone on this journey of self-discovery, like really just unapologetic about it, because that's a part of me that I really love. The part of me that I love the most is that I love people.
Love this. I'm gonna be terrible, and this is classic bloke, isn't it? I'm gonna try and mansplain what we've learned today, Regina. But let me know if I've got it wrong. So I think that your one thing is authentically about being yourself. But I think the trickiest thing about being yourself is everybody always says, just be yourself. But myself before a snack and after a snack are two completely different people. So it's very hard to do. The first step that a business owner can take, or even an employee, I think for everybody, is to start journaling down, whether you jot down at the end of the day, whether you jot down once a week, 3 times a week, whatever it is to start that journaling process. And then once you've done that, you can start to then reflect on your journaling process. And I think I often talk, and Hayley will probably tell me to shut up about this, about Couch to 5K and things like that. You start off with the first few steps. And then as you start to do something, you find that you enjoy it, you start to see the benefits of it. And you can then go through that business journey. So the one thing that we're going to say today is going to be journaling, just because I think self-discovery for me, having now learned the word overwhelm on my own journey, is a big thing. But journaling and just getting something down on paper every day, I think is a phenomenal one thing.
Absolutely. And I hear you on the Couch to 5K. I'm with you on it, because I am about to start it again.
Yes.
Yeah, it would absolutely be the one thing. It's the one thing that when sometimes I feel a little bit lost, I'm like, I haven't done this in a while. Let me get back to it. Let me get back to writing stuff down, because sometimes it's just a brain dump, right? Sometimes you've got to get things out of here onto here, and that's going to help you to get some clarity on where you are and who you are.
I think it's like I don't. It's not. You can probably tell it's not my favourite thing. But because it probably scares me a little bit, if I'm honest. But I think that's the whole point, right? So with that then, you've already talked a little bit about some of the things that you do, but give us a full shameless plug and where people can find you to connect with you if they want to find out more about you and your business and how to go on the journey of self-discovery.
So full shameless plug. I spend way too much time on Facebook.
I might have seen you.
That's where I spend most of the time. The doors are actually open for the Vault Mastermind now. It's your opportunity to work with me and some of the most amazing business minds, inclusive business minds in the world, for a whole year. And you're going on a journey of self-discovery for you, for your business, for your visibility. We are literally just going to hold your hand so you can just show up as you in your own authenticity. We'll hold you whilst you're crying, whilst you're laughing, whilst you're having a tantrum on the floor. Doesn't matter, you've just got a whole community to help you through that thing as well. And also just build an epic business that's going to make you stacks of cash.
Sounds good. So how do people connect with you?
Come and connect with me. Find me on Facebook, add me as a friend, follow me. I'm also on LinkedIn. I'm literally Regina Martin everywhere. So it's Regina Martin or the Regina Martin, because I am the. There's another one. She doesn't know we're in competition. So I put the online. Don't even know me. No.
So your preferred method, if somebody wants to join the Vault, get involved with Regina, they like what they've heard,
Yeah.
so to
I mean,
speak.
drop me a DM, because I like to have conversations with people. It is invite only, because we are very selective about the personalities that we have in there. Not that your personality is not enough, but you've got to deal with mine.
Exclusive.
Yeah. No, so it is just about really understanding where you are in your business and actually just making sure that this is something that we can help you with. I've had some people come to me who haven't quite yet been right for me, and I've been able to signpost them on and say, actually, this person is where you are. Come to me next year. You'll be ready then. So it's that conversation that we like.
Collaboration over competition all the time. Yeah. Thank you so much. Get out. You go.
Wow, what a bundle of energy and knowledge Regina was. And I thought a really powerful what one thing. What did you think, Hayley?
Yes, definitely. Definitely a force of nature. It's interesting. It is definitely the side of business that I probably am most uncomfortable with, which I think is fairly obvious from if you've listened to the episode. I think it's a great what one thing, because I do think that knowing yourself, for me, it's not about the thing, it's about what the thing gets you. So, and I think going through that process and understanding more about those things, ultimately, I think means that you can have better business relationships with people, because you know more about you and you know what boundaries and you know what is going to make you happy and make you show up as you and ultimately give you the business that you want to have in the long run. I think that's really what it drives. That's why If you are a little bit like me and uncomfortable with that, for me, that's the takeaway. That's why it's worth doing. What do you think?
I thought the get to know thyself is a very huge kind of open scape world that you could go in any direction, almost read any book, and it's just so, to me, overwhelming that it's hard to know where to start. I really loved journaling because I thought there's something practical. If I'm truthful, the way Regina described it reminded me a lot of stretching. I'm sure it's something that I will start to do, find real benefits, then I'll forget to do it for a few weeks, wonder why things have gone downhill again, remember to do it, and I imagine the cycle being that way. So I thought that journaling piece was really important. I am 100% in the same camp as you, where I think we spoke to Jojo in a previous podcast, and she asked us to name 3 things that we liked about ourselves, and we both had a bit of a giggle afterwards. I'd say that 3 things was going to be tricky, and then Regina's that's 10 things now. And I think it's very sad and probably very British that we both find that very hard to do, that opening up about yourself, and especially for me at the age of whatever I am, 45, it should be something that you would imagine I've mastered by now. You're obviously much younger than me, Hayley, but you'd think it's something that we would have come to grips with as business owners and people who I think count ourselves as bold, confident, adventurous, not risk averse. Maybe this is the chasm that we haven't gone over yet. What do you think you'll do differently in your business or your life moving forward from here?
I think it's important to remember that when it's your business, you can choose who you work with, how you work with them, and all of the things that come with that. The reality is that sometimes you do have to pay the bills and you have to take that on the chin and get on with it. But ultimately, I think it's important to not forget the reasons why you started the business, and that you do have that choice, and that as you're going through the journey, that you don't lose sight of that, or you don't forget that, and that you're always trying to, I suppose, navigate to that point. Because it's a journey, isn't it? The destination isn't the goal. For me, anyway.
The journey is the goal. That's always a beautiful statement. I think that's powerful in itself, isn't it? So you've got the journaling, you've got the find out about yourself, then you've got your ideal client based on the people that you want to work with rather than the most profitable. But of course, all at this time, you've got to pay staff, you've got to pay national insurance, HMRC, VAT, you've got to keep the business up and running. But by doing those things, I think you're completely right in that you are moving towards the goal.
Yeah.
And as always, I think you're right with the journey is the goal, and that you are self-discovering and improving your own life, and hopefully the life with your family, friends, compatriots as you go along.
Yeah. And I think you talk about quite a bit like marginal gains. And I think that comes into it because you're right, it is overwhelming trying to, and sometimes I think that's probably why I shrink away from it, because, Jojo did it, Regina's done it, and you're like, well, actually, that's a massive thing. Like, I can't unpick 40 years of stuff. Do you know what I mean? Just to go on this business journey, like, that's just too hard. And I don't even want to do it, to be completely truthful. But it's those, like, what you can do, the little bits. What can you do that then just helps, not necessarily fundamentally change it, but each little bit's going to change it a little bit. And I also think the thing that I struggle with a little bit with this whole knowing yourself is I'm not the same person I was like a year ago. Never mind like 5 years ago. And I'm probably going to be a different person. So then do you just have to like redo it? I don't know. Blows my mind, Phil, as you can tell.
So I heard something interesting, whether it's agreeable or not, is that your perspective changes. Your personality doesn't change, but your perspective does, based on the events that you witness and the events that happen to you. So your personality is always the same, but you might think that giving money to the homeless is a great idea, and then you might give some money to 3 homeless people and see them go and buy heroin with it, and all of a sudden you're still the same personality, but your worldview has differed. You still want to be generous, you still want to be kind, you still want to help people in need, but your perspective on the situation has changed.
Yeah.
I do agree with you, it's overwhelming. I think it's a little bit like when you see a marathon runner and you're just starting your couch to 5K, And yes, we might not end up as the marathon runner, but if we can end up as a 10-minute mile, an 8-minute mile, whatever your goal is. And I think that's probably the same as this journey for us, is that I don't know whether we could become a Regina or a Jojo, but what we could become is a better version of ourselves.
Yeah. So just before we wrap up then, what's the one thing you're going to do differently?
Oh, you've got me there. I was hoping you wouldn't ask. I, and of course my best pal ChatGPT, are going to start journaling, because I'm aware in my own business that it's very important that I start to keep track of my time. I start to keep track of what activities I'm doing the day, and with my new coach, how I feel about those activities, and if I am procrastinating on something, what my thoughts or emotions are around procrastinating. And I think it would be relatively easy for me to just jot down something to ChatGPT. Although, mental note to all of my AI followers out there, if you don't put the date and time in of when you give a note to ChatGPT, it does not keep a timeline. So it will not remember that it was Monday that you wrote that record, or Tuesday. How about yourself, Hayley?
Maybe I will try journaling again. I don't know. I need to think on that, I think. Thanks so much for joining us. We hope you have found one thing to help move your business forward.
And if you do, please do us a favour, share this episode with somebody else who's on the same journey, and we'll see you all next time on What One Thing.